Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, guys. Today we're going to discuss a particular topic. It's about the angst of brevity of life and the angst of eternal punishment. What do I mean by this? What is angst? Why am I using this term? I want you guys to be familiar with it. This is a philosophical term, and you can just understand it, so improve your vocabulary. Anyway, we're going to talk about this, and I'll show you how maybe this is one of the reasons, which I strongly believe actually, why a lot of people are polemicists. Because they are scared subconsciously of being wrong. Like, would you want to accept that you're wrong on a particular position? And what would you do to defend it? What would you do to validate it to yourself? That's what we're going to discuss in this video. So the first type, the angst of brevity of life. So angst, if you check the meaning in the dictionary, is like a kind of depression, a kind of existential crisis, a kind of self-awareness of the brevity of your life, knowing that you're going to die. How do you deal with that? A lot of people don't think about this a lot. They do, but we're all going to die. And what does that mean? It's not just it's normal. No, it's not. It's not. We are conscious. Human beings are conscious beings. We don't know about other animals, okay? And I don't even know about other people, but I know I'm conscious. The fact that I know that I'm conscious, I don't want to die, in the sense that I don't want to accept that fact. So naturally, if you like an atheist that just believe that everything is natural and everything is biological and stuff, of course our body will die, so it's like a natural thing. But as a conscious being, you don't want to accept that, because you see yourself as more than just an animal. You see yourself as a being that exists in some kind of concrete way. So you have philosophers like Heidegger and many existential philosophers. So there's a philosophy called existentialism, and these guys mainly talk about that life has no meaning. You have people like Nietzsche and all those people, and there's no meaning to life. Any attempt to find meaning for life is just a way to distract yourself from the very fact that it has no meaning. So you have a philosophy of like nihilism, or much more clearly absurdism. You find this in all these existential philosophers like Albert Camus, and there's another one, a very popular one, I forgot his name, a French philosopher. Anyway, this kind of angst is like you imagine, let me give you an analogy. Imagine you're falling from a sky, from a plane, okay? You just find yourself mid-air somewhere, and you're falling, and you see everyone around you also falling, and you are at a particular height that you see the ground, and you see other people crashing into the ground. Those people are already crashed. You can see them. You can see like that's where you're going. You're moving towards that. In that kind of situation, imagine yourself there. What will be your state? You know you cannot avoid what's going to happen to you. And what would you do then? You'll be like, why am I even here? What is the purpose of anything? Does it matter what I do? It doesn't even matter. Like, one guy is falling with his head, one guy is falling with his leg, one guy is saying, can I, like, it doesn't matter, right? So somehow life is meaningless, but it has meaning. So we are stuck in a kind of weird place. And if you want to know more about this, just go and read those existential philosophers. They will explain it to you clearly. Anyway, the point I want to derive from this is that everyone has this kind of dread. They are sad because their life is going to come to an end. And for the atheists, it just means that they will be annihilated. But as a conscious being, annihilation is not something that is a fact. But it's not a fact that you just accept like it's normal. You are the being that is the reference being in there. So you cannot just accept it. You cannot do anything about it, but that's the whole point. The whole point is the experience of existence, feeling yourself existing in the world that you're about to go out of. Okay, it's not the pain of death that you're scared of. It's the pain that why was that have to happen. Okay. Anyway, that is the angst of existence, or the brevity of life. That's what I'm calling it anyway. So what it means is that for the atheists now, how do they become polemicists? So a polemicist is someone like, for example, you see atheists crazily attacking religious people, attacking everybody, shouting and making. Why are they doing that? I feel like if you are someone in the air falling from the sky, knowing that you're going to crash into the ground, it doesn't matter what you do, okay? You are all in the same situation. Who gets to tell you what to do? So when religious people come and you want to come and tell them, and by the way, you want to add another layer of angst, which I will discuss next, do you think they're going to accept it with that? Like, if I'm going to hellfire, I better go out blasting. That's how some people think. If I'm going there, let me just go out. Leave me alone, bro. I'm going to destroy you in the process. Okay, so this is a very dangerous kind of thinking. So, by the way, most people might not think to that level. I'm just saying, some people are very conscious of these things. Anyway, and subconsciously, some people might be doing this too. Like, okay, I disbelieve in God, but if God is true, and I'm going to hellfire, then I've already made that decision. So I better go out blasting, because that's all I have, at least, to protest. Let me protest against the impending doom that I'm about to face. Okay, that's one. The next level of angst is the angst of eternal damnation, eternal doom, eternal punishment that will never end. Imagine that. You see, it's not just you're going to die. Okay, so by the way, some existential philosophers or people in this kind of thinking, they say that, you see, religious people are just trying to escape the fact that they're going to be annihilated. You see that problem we laid out in the first part, that some people, we know we are going to die, and there's nothing we can do about it. So they said religious people are just thinking ahead. They are like, you know what if we survive that crash? What if there's something else somewhere? You see that thing that we're going to, what if that is there and we live eternally? We will never die. We live eternally. So they are kind of making fun of us, that we don't want to die and we want to somehow escape in a kind of non-bodily existence somewhere. And they're saying you're trying to avoid the problem by doing this. Okay, so the idea of heaven, of a place where you have peace and everything, they see it as you're just trying to escape it. But the point is that now you add a layer of eternal damnation, that you don't only not go into extinction. So according to religious people, you are not annihilated. You are kept. You continue to live. Now, the state that you're going to live in is where the discussion comes. You can either live in bliss or you live in eternal damnation. So some people say, so now you have added another layer where whatever I do here is going to determine if I'm going to be eternally damned and punished. Okay, so, and the default seems to be like you're mostly going to be eternally damned. That's how most people see, like, I'm not good enough, or I've chosen the wrong religion or something, I'm going to be eternally damned anyway. And I'll show you why this can lead to extreme polemicism also, because of this fear of, have I gotten it wrong? Is there a chance I've gotten it wrong? So you delude yourself into thinking that I've gotten it right somehow. I'm so lucky that I was right on all my theological positions and everything. Okay, so in a way, is that self-delusion? Are you trying to avoid the problem of possibly getting it wrong and being eternally damned? Is that what you're doing? So we can ask that question also. So in a way, at one point you're going to be like, you know what, I've made my decision, there's nothing I can do about it. Now, the only way that I can live with that decision is to be a polemicist. See, some of these things might be subconsciously. This is what I think anyway. So people feel like, you know what, since I've made this decision, maybe you chose to be a Christian, and you know the Muslims are telling you that you'll be eternally punished if you remain a Christian, for example. And they are telling you this, and you know you are not be changing your religion. So what do? Be like, if I'm going to hell, and I think this position I've chosen is correct one, I better go out blasting, and I'll go and attack Islam and do everything possible in my power to destroy them as much as possible. So you will start making rhetorics and polemics and unnecessary things. It's like a baby that is panicking. Or how will I say this? You know, there's an adage in my language that says that if you see a snake that has been hurt or a snake that is about to die, run away from that snake, because that snake is going to bite you with all the force in his body. He's not going to leave one drop of venom out. He's going to pour it all into you. Why? Because he knows he's dying. So that kind of reaction of, bro, don't come near me, that kind of thing, I think this is one of the reasons why religious people are polemicists. So they are polemicists because they are scared of that possibility that they could have gotten it wrong, and therefore they will be eternally punished. So there are two layers. The first layer is death, but most people are not really scared of death. They are really scared of what will happen after. Okay, what will happen after you die? According to the atheists, then when they die, they will be annihilated. That thought alone is sad. that you'll be annihilated. See, you might see people saying that, I don't care about annihilation. I don't care. What is annihilation? No, that's not the point. The point is being aware that you're not going to be here forever. And you will see like your life has no meaning because of that. It has no meaning. What is the meaning? So is that the purpose of your life is to die? And the fact that you are incapacitated to change that fact. So there's a fact that everyone will die. Why? Why should that be a fact? You can accept it and be like, oh, that's what it is. Or you can be like, why should that be? As a conscious being, you feel like, I don't want that to happen. But it's going to happen anyway. So that state of sadness is what we are describing here. So that's for the atheists. And they also have a sense of a kind of nihilism because of the decisions that they've made against the religious people, saying that, okay, since I've made this decision of being an atheist, therefore, if the theists are right, in a way, I'm gone. So I better use what I have left here to just polemicize and just cry and scream as much as possible. So that's what the reaction you get. So don't be surprised as a theist if you see some atheists reacting in a certain way. They are trying to live with their decisions that they've made. That's one. Now you think like that's over. That's for the atheists. For the theists, they have an added layer of angst. This kind of angst about eternal damnation. That I've made this decision and there's a possibility I could be wrong. Especially see the Christians and Muslim dichotomy I gave you. So there's a possibility I could be wrong. So therefore, I have to live with my choices also. So if you become a Muslim, you'll be like, I need to make sure this Christian faith is false as much as possible. And I will try my possible best to prove. So the less Christians that we have. So in a way, it will be better if there's only one person saying that. It's like this. It would have been better if only Christians were talking about hellfire and heaven. It would have been the best because they will know like, is it that you become a Christian or not? But now it's not just you become a Christian or not. It's you become a Christian or you become a Muslim or you become an atheist. You see, now there's a layer of complexity there, and you cannot use Pascal's wager here. You know, if it was Christian and atheist, you can use Pascal's wager and be like, I'm being a Christian. If it's true, I'll be fine. If it's not true, I'll still be fine with the atheist. But if you use Pascal's wager with a Muslim, it's not going to work because it's not just between an atheist and a theist. It's between your choices of theology also, and this could lead you to eternal damnation also. So I feel like this is why people polemicize each other, because they have subconsciously or even consciously, some people might be aware of this. And see, even me in a way, I had to do like a psychoanalysis of myself and be like, why am I making these videos? What is the whole point of making these so-called Dawa videos? Is it because I made the right choices? And by the way, it doesn't end there. Let me show you. It doesn't end there. If you watch my older video, it also extends into the intra-religious stuff too. So between the Catholics and the Eastern Orthodox, the polemics doesn't end. Between the Protestants and the Catholics and the Eastern Orthodox, the polemics continue. Why? Because those things seem to be deciding if you're going to hellfire or not. So I think this factor is very, very important, and you will see like it continues. The argument never ends. The level of polemicism is just as bad as with atheists. So when you see Christians argue against the heretics, it's just as bad as arguing against the atheists. They don't see any difference there because it's all ultimately about that angst I told you. I could be wrong, and if I've made the wrong decision, I better go out blasting. Okay, so that's what I think people are doing. So in Islam also, you see the kind of polemics that happen between theological differences, some kind of belief differences, even in intra-Islamic stuff. People make this kind of hellfire, consequentialist kind of thing. So I think this is why people are polemicists, and I might have fallen into that also. But right now, I think, let's see, I have to be honest, let me tell you, this problem, like, you cannot get rid of it because of the uncertainty that every human being have. You have this kind of uncertainty that I don't know what will happen. I hope this was what will happen. And that's belief. Belief is a kind of way of saying, you see, I might not know 100%, but I believe it. I have hope in it. So I have hope that when I die, it's not the end. I have hope, and I believe. See, the level of belief will now determine the amount of knowledge you have. Even Islamically, you know, there's a yaqeen, certainty, and there's different shades of that. So the kind of yaqeen that the prophets have is not the same kind of yaqeen that you have, because they have seen things more vividly than you, and their iman is stronger than you. So in a way, you see that is also there. So the point I'm making is that the only way you get out of the polemics, because you will never, no one wants to accept that they could be wrong. Like, would you want to accept that you go to hellfire? Of course not. So I think the first reaction is just to say, you know what, I'm not going to hellfire. You are, because of this, because of that. You are going to hellfire, and you will go there, and I will just shout at the top of my voice to not accept that maybe I am the one going there. I think that's on the first level. The other level is just to accept it and be like, you know what, I could be wrong, but this is the best I could do. I've tried my best. Okay, I think that's the healthy position. The healthy position will be to see, I strongly believe in this, and this is my position, and I'm trying to examine it as much as possible. But whatever conclusion I come to, using my reason, I emphasize on that, reason, logic, trying as much as possible to be unsentimental, reasoning clearly. Whatever decision I come to after that, that's what I'm going to stick with. I'm not going to be emotionally charged and shouting and trying to avoid what might be unavoidable at the end of the day by polemicizing and attacking other people. So I think if you see, I'm just rambling on in this video, but whatever it is you get from it, that's what I was trying to push you anyway. Let me see what you guys think about this in the comment section. See you guys later. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.